The Walking Dead tells the story of Sheriff Deputy Rick Grimes wakes up from a coma to learn the world is in ruins and must lead a group of survivors to stay alive. Rick Grimes, the sheriff at King County Police Office, with his partner and also his best friend, Shane Walsh. Rick carefully approaches the overturned car. A man emerges from the vehicle and immediately starts shooting at the officers. The man shoots directly at Rick and hits him in the chest. Rick falls to the ground bleeding. Shane begs for Rick to stay with him. Rick goes into a coma. Chaos erupted in the hospital. Since everyone in the hospital is infected with the Walker virus, they are shot dead to contain the spread of the infection. Shane watches fearfully as the military execute terrified people in the hallways. Shane tries to get Rick out of the hospital, and take him to safety. He tries to lift his comatose partner, but hesitates because of all the tubes and wires attached to the machines that are keeping him alive. He ducks behind Rick's bed just as two army personnel arrive to sweep the room. The army thought that Rick was dead, so he didn't shoot him. Shane begs his best friend to wake up, but the power goes out. The beeping of the machines have stopped. Fearing the worst, Shane puts his ear to Rick's chest. No heartbeat is heard. Shane cries. He grieves for his lost friend. Shane looks at Rick for the last time. He feels bad for not being able to take Rick with him. He blocked off the door to Rick's room to prevent the walkers from eating Rick's body. Shane comes to meet with Rick's wife, Lori, to tell her about Rick's shooting incident. Shane told Lori that Rick is dead. Lori was totally broken and didn't know what to do. Shane adores Rick's family and looked to Lori and Carl as his reason to keep going in the face of all that is going on. Power goes out. Traffic at a standstill. Operation Cobalt, in which the government starts bombing the affected and major coastal cities. The government tries to bomb the zombies and all the infected. Lori leaned on Shane for support, for herself and Carl. As things progressed, Shane and Lori got closer. Lori began a relationship with Shane Walsh. Rick awakens. He walks in the dark and disheveled hallway. Rick sees the ravaged body of a nurse missing most of her skin. His eyes can't believe what he's seeing and he backs away, confused and afraid. A double door leading into the cafeteria has been chained shut. badly decayed body of a mutilated woman, turns and reaches for him. Rick bikes over to his home to find his wife and son. A young boy creeps up from behind and hits him with a shovel. There he meets survivor Morgan Jones and his son Dwayne. Rick, Morgan and Dwayne luxuriate in hot showers. Morgan heads up to the attic carrying a rifle. When his wife appears, Morgan breaks down, still unable to shoot her. Rick tells Morgan he thinks his wife and son are still alive and decides to head to Atlanta to find them. Unaware they are safe with other survivors, led by his former partner Shane. Rick is ambushed by a walker horde but is rescued by scavenger survivor Glenn. Glenn leads him to the rest of the survivors holed up in a downtown department store. Suddenly, muffled gunshots are heard. They all leave to investigate. On the rooftop, the group finds Merle firing at walkers in the street with a scoped rifle. Marles and T-Dog chastise Merle for wasting bullets and attracting more walkers.
Hey, come on, Merle, that's enough! Come on!
The group is forced to vote in favor of Merle being their new leader.
Yeah, that means I'm the boss, right? Dios. There.
When Glenn asks the group to get ready for pickup, the group grabs their bags and rushes from the rooftop toward the loading dock, with no concern for unlocking Merle's handcuffs. T-Dog reluctantly turns back as Merle begs and runs with the key in hand to set him free. In the midst of all this, T-Dog accidentally slips on the rain-soaked roof and drops the handcuff key down a drain.
You did that on purpose! I didn't mean to! You did it on purpose! I'm not saying it! Don't leave me, man! Don't
He goes back up, and chains the door shut so that the walkers can't get to him.
like this, man! Hey, T-Dog! No, T-Dog! Don't do it, man! Damn you all!
They manage to escape the city.
Tell ya.
Is it them? Are they back?
Glenn drives the red Dodge Challenger and speeds out of Atlanta while screaming in celebration. Glenn takes Rick to the survivors' camp.
You are a welcome sight. I thought we had lost you folks.
He finds Lori, Carl, and Shane. Lori and Shane are shocked by the return of someone they feared was dead. With Rick's eventual return, Lori found herself filled with both extreme happiness and extreme guilt. The five men beat on the walker run past them to a clearing where a walker is devouring a deer with crossbow bolts sticking out of it. Dale arrives and decapitates it. Daryl Dixon emerges from the woods carrying a crossbow and hauling over a dozen dead squirrels. He's upset that the walker ate the deer he'd been tracking for miles, and the food has been wasted. Shane tells Daryl that his brother, Merle, didn't make it back. Rick chimes in, confessing he left Merle handcuffed to the roof as the group surrounds them.
Watch the knife. Okay. Best let me go.
I think it's better if I don't.
Chokeholding's illegal.
Hey, file a complaint. It's not Rick's fault.
T-Dog explains that he accidentally dropped the key in a drain. He adds that he chained the door to the roof shut so the undead couldn't get to him.
Hell with all y'all. Just tell me where he is, so I can go get him.
I'm going back.
Rick prepares to leave with Daryl. Rick explains that he also needs to collect his walkie-talkie from the bag so he can warn Morgan Jones away from the city. He claims he owes them his life. In Atlanta, Rick, Daryl, Glenn, and T-Dog return to the department store. On the ground, the hacksaw sits beside a severed hand. Meanwhile, Shane tells Lori not to take it out on him. And Lori warns him to stay away from her family. Ed continues to loom over the women doing laundry.
Ain't my job, Missy.
Job, Ed? Sitting on your ass smoking cigarettes?
Oh, she's smart-mouth bitch. Let's go.
Ed slaps his wife, Carol, across the face. Shane grabs Ed and throws him to the ground. He punches him continuously until his whole face is bloody. Shane said, "If you put your hands on your wife, your little girl, or anybody else in this camp one more time, I will not stop next time. I'll beat you to death, Ed." Ed thinks it's Carol bugging him to join the group and unzips the flap to yell at her.
Hey!
But instead, he finds a walker. It topples on him, biting his neck as more walkers swarm inside the tent, devouring him.
Brought a toilet paper?
A walker approaches from behind the RV door and bites Amy's arm. The camp is sent into a panic. Walkers attack from all directions, grabbing and devouring people all over the campsite. Rick and the others, running toward camp, hear gunshots in the distance and quicken their pace. Jim and Morales beat down walkers with baseball bats. Screams in pain as a large chunk of her neck is bit by the same walker who bit her arm. Andrea runs for Amy.
Come on, stay close! No! Stay close!
Shane asks Laurie to get Carl, Carol, and everyone else into the RV as he fires his shotgun. Rick, Daryl, Glenn, and T-Dog arrive and quickly shoot the remaining walkers. The survivors begin to catch their breath as Carl runs tearfully into Rick's arms, and Laurie looks on, terrified. Shane's aim lands on Rick. He holds it there for just a few seconds, glaring, his breath heavy, but then he lowers the gun. And notices Dale's been watching him. Shane shrugs it off, musing that they need to get reflective vests for the woods. Jackie and Jim pile up bodies. She notices blood on his shirt. Jim begs her not to tell. But Jackie's too terrified to stay silent.
Walker got him! Walker bit Jim!
He grabs a shovel to press the group away from him as they demand to see his stomach.
I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay.
And take care of this damn problem.
We don't kill the living, Rick says. Outside, Dale advocates respecting Jim's wishes to leave him there. Laurie agrees. As the group is preparing to leave, Morales announces that his family won't be joining the group. He states that they have family in Birmingham and want to be with their people.
I gotta do what's best for my family.
You sure?
The group carries Jim to a nearby tree.
Thanks for fighting for us.
Okay.
The group departs, tearfully leaving him behind. Elsewhere, a video monitor crackles to life. An unshaven man, Dr. Edwin Jenner, in a biohazard suit opens a tissue sample and begins an experiment. Rick's caravan approaches the CDC, where hundreds of bodies lay dead on the ground. Inside, the proximity alarm alerts Jenner. Stunned, he watches the group's approach via security monitor. The group quietly approaches the building, which is locked and shuttered. Rick catches sight of the security camera's movement and slams his fists against the metal shutters, screaming, "If you don't let us in, you're killing us." Suddenly a shuttered door opens. Dr. Jenner agrees to allow them in, provided they all submit to a blood test. Rick agrees. And they follow Jenner to the building's subterranean control center. The group feasts in the CDC cafeteria, joyfully drinking wine and liquor from the fully stocked kitchen. They are beyond happy about finding a safe place to stay and a good meal. Shane, drunk and desperate, he tries to kiss Laurie. He grabs for her, forcing himself on her until Laurie screams and scratches his face and throat. Horrified by his own behavior, Shane flees, and Laurie breaks down into tears. Dale asks Jenner about a clock on the far wall, which is counting down from an hour. At that point, Jenner says, "The basement generators, they run out of fuel. At 0 Vi. The CDC's computer system explains, plant-wide decontamination will occur, a reference to the decontamination by fire that happened to the lab in the previous episode, Wildfire. Jenner states that in 30 minutes, the building would decontaminate and that it is too late to stop it since there is no fuel. Rick yells at the group to grab their things and run as the emergency alarms start blaring. Before they are able to, Jenner locks them inside the control center. There's no point in struggling, Jenner explains. Everything topside is automatically locked down. When that door closes, it won't open again. You heard me say that, he points out as Rick tries to demand that he open the door. It's better this way, Jenner says. He tries to help the case and convince Rick and his group to accept their fate by stating that the death would be instant and painless. Rick and Lori tell Jenna that they just want their chance to keep going as long as they can. Swayed, Jenna agrees to open the door, but also tells them that they still won't be able to get past the lockdown upstairs.
We got 4 minutes left, come on!
Jenna opens the door to the control center. The group heads for the exit, but Jackie stops. She says that doesn't want to end up like Jim and Amy. Andrea wants to stay too.
Just go! Go!
Dale pleads with Andrea to come with them, or he will have to stay too. In the CDC lobby, the group finds the doors locked and they pound helplessly on the windows. Shane shoots a rifle at the glass, to no avail. Carol then pulls a hand grenade that she found on Rick's uniform while washing it. Quickly, Rick detonates the grenade.
Look out!
Blasting out one of the windows with mere minutes to spare before decontamination. They run to the cars, shooting at nearby walkers as they run. They pile into their cars and are getting ready to drive away when, from inside the RV, Lori sees Dale and Andrea emerge from the building. Shaken. Rick starts the engine, and the caravan drives away from the smoldering rubble, thick black smoke rising up behind them. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button if you like this video. Love from me, UEY.